Hello, YouTube. I hope that you guys are all having a wonderful day. This is The Ugly Girl. Today I would like to talk about why it is still considered okay to be prejudiced against ugly-looking people. There was a fantastic article in the New York Times by David Brooks about this very subject several years ago, and when I read it, I loved it, and I hope that it would change the way people think. But alas, it didn't. There's still plenty of prejudice against us. I think there are several reasons for this. Why it's still considered a safe prejudice. For one thing, it's harder to qualify. People who are of color, or homosexual people, or disabled people, all have groups to advocate for them. And it's obviously, if somebody is Hispanic or black or whatever, there's no argument there. They're definitely Hispanic or black, or if somebody is, homosexual. And they've acted upon it. Then that's pretty obvious too. However, people's perception of looks is considered to be subjective. That's only partially true, though. Psychologists have done studies that determine it's the symmetry of someone's face and body that makes them considered attractive or unattractive. Like if you look at me, you can see this eye is smaller than this eye. So that would be an example there. So it's not really that subjective. Now the other reason is that if you call yourself ugly, people will jump on you and argue with you. They'll get mad at you and tell you that you're not. They'll tell you it's all about attitude if you tell them that you have experienced this type of prejudice. Believe me, I know. It's kind of their way of denying your own experience and your own truth. So that's what I think is really messed up when you think about it. They do this to make themselves feel better. They don't want to admit to any kind of personal bias. They want it to be your fault that you feel bad about yourself. They don't want yet another group of people whose feelings they have to take into consideration when they go about their daily lives. They want to be able to go on laughing about someone who looks different. A lot of people who look different don't want to talk about it. It's very touchy-feely, it's very embarrassing, and for many years I didn't want to talk about it either. I eventually got over that. But I did think it was depressing. It was like a final nail in the coffin if I admitted it. Some people will just laugh at you if you try to talk about it because they think it's funny. They don't think it's a real prejudice, even though it's affected me every single day of my life. They used to kill people with facial deformities. They used to put them in circuses. I mean, it's fairly obvious that it's a real prejudice. When there was this one incident in my life where I noticed this happening. I was in a play that ended up getting canceled. The play was Marty. It's pretty famous. It's about a homely butcher who can't find a girlfriend, and then he goes to a dance and he meets Clara, a homely school teacher. Even though I had no acting experience, I was cast as Clara, the leading lady. And what I noticed was that when I went to the audition, there were plenty of other girls who could have played this character. They'd been invited by the director to come and audition. But they all wanted to audition for different parts in the play instead of Clara because they just didn't want to talk about the fact that they were right for that role. And they were just as unattractive as I was. So that was that's a little story that I thought was actually kind of funny. People need to start talking about this, and people who have experienced this prejudice need to talk to each other about it and to organize so we can fight back against a system that has oppressed us. And I know that'll be hard to do, but I think it's very important that people do that. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening to me.